Joplin residents will go to the polls in August, and one of the items on the ballot is the renewal of a quarter-cent sales tax to fund parks and stormwater projects in Joplin. I'm Bobby Potroff, and this is Newsmakers. Joining us today is Paul Bloomberg, Director of Joplin Parks and Recreation, and Dan Johnson, Assistant Director of Public Works. How are you guys today?
Good.
Well, Paul, let's start with you.
Sure.
What does the quarter-cent sales tax mean, the renewal, mean for residents?
Sure. So this will be the third renewal going to the Joplin voters, and the first two passed successfully. So it's not a new tax. It's just a renewal. What it means to the citizens, hopefully they can tell by the projects that we've had in the past 20 years what it does to our community. Quality of life is a huge issue for the whole city. We want to make sure people have the amenities that other communities have for health and wellness and programming and whatnot. It also, we want people to come to parks that are. I mean, take Mercy Park for instance. It's a beautiful park. That's kind of our flagship park that we want. That's kind of what we want our parks to all be based on.
The gold standard, if you will.
Yes, the gold standard. So we think that the citizens deserve it. We have a great community, and so that's one of our key initiatives to this.
And what are some of the biggest projects on this wish list?
Sure. One of our biggest ones is the Seibert renovation of the aquatic center. What is being proposed is a $5 million project to make it into a splash park, not a splash pad. So if you look at, there's a difference. You look at Par Hill, that's a little pad. You look at a splash park, it's a huge area. But also with that, unique feature to that is that we'll have an ice ribbon, which is a 12-foot stretch of concrete that goes all the way around, weaving in and out of the play structures that could be frozen over in the wintertime to make it a 12-month operation instead of just a 4-month operation. So that's one of our big projects. Actually, that is one of the biggest projects on the list. Another key one, which we did a Parks Master Plan last year, and one of the key things that came out of there was outdoor recreation, trails and beautification. So one of our other big projects is the Dover Bike Park, which would encompass the bottom of Dover Hill, not where the school district is building their new school, but the bottom part, plus Ozark Park that goes all the way up to Zora. That we're looking at 5 to 7 miles of single track mountain bike trails. We're looking at a pump track for BMX bikes, and then also a children's bicycle park as well. So that's a huge amenity. I know a lot of people travel outside of Joplin to go find that, so it'd be a nice thing to have for the Joplin citizens. So
Something interesting.
Yep. And like I said, those are our two big ones, but another one that's on there, and it came out in our study, that beautification. People want our parks looking good. So, and that can entail projects to enhance them and beautification of flower beds and whatnot. So, yeah, we're pretty excited about the list.
And the Dover Hill project, does that include for skateboards, where they would be able to?
So no, the Dover is strictly biking, is a biking element.
Okay.
But it does, it has a lot of the bicycle BMX individuals go to the Seibert skate park that we have now for skateboarding and whatnot. But so this will give them another area to find their skills and have fun. The nice part of this project is that we are hoping that this would connect as a trail connection piece to Landreth Park. So connectivity and trails are a huge one too, especially after the pandemic that we're experiencing. That we noticed that was our parks played a huge part in getting people outside, and trails is a huge aspect to that.
Yeah, it gives a good mental capacity to your well-being.
Oh, right. I mean, the health and wellness part is incredible, and we want to keep people in Joplin. Right. We don't want them to have to go outside of Joplin, but we also want to bring people in as a destination point, and a lot of these projects will do both.
Okay. And Dan, what will it mean for stormwater projects? I know you were saying it's not as much fun as Parks and Rec, but it really matters.
But it's important, and if anything's just the recent events, some of the recent 100-year flood that we've had, That shows you that the maintaining and improving and replacing portions of the existing drainage system is very important. It's part of it's important for safety, and it's important for just being able to get around the city of Joplin.
Yeah, because on that May 27th date, and we'd visited in another episode of Newsmakers about where the water goes, and in that on that day it happened to go all over the roads. So there were certain places in Joplin you couldn't drive or shouldn't have been driving.
That's absolutely. Always remember, stay alive, don't drive.
Turn around, don't drive.
Yeah,
Turn around, don't drown.
Exactly. You don't want to risk it because there could be a hole that you can't see, all sorts of dangers. So we're excited about this, the continuation of this, just renewing this existing sales tax. We feel like we've been able to make a lot of really good improvements to the system. For instance, the 7th and Illinois improvements, they were surely tested by that recent event, and they came up, performed very well.
Oh, I hadn't asked about that part of the area because, you know, of course, where the high school is, that's a flood area, and 20th Street developed some
Yes.
really big puddles across 20th Street that had not been
There were. It overtopped on 20th Street. It overtopped at Range Line. It overtopped at 15th Street. That's my most famous, the most visible detention basin. That's we call that a regional detention basin there. That was part of the previous program. The upcoming program, we do not have any regional detention, but we do this program. I like it because it's reaching out into several neighborhoods. You'd mentioned the high school, the neighborhood south of the high school, the Joplin High School. There's a creek actually that runs through the existing high school campus. That is the Iowa Avenue branch of Joplin Creek.
Okay.
And how the water gets into that, it comes through the neighborhood to the south. We call that the Durham Acres project. And so there's a large neighborhood there, many houses, and the folks that drive through there will all see a big improvement. We also have the 17th and Mina. That's another large neighborhood, well over 100 homes. We'll see a dramatic improvement. That's another area where a couple of spots where there's enough water, it will drown out your cars.
And does it back up into people's basements, or is it
there's not a lot of basements there, but it gets under a lot of houses, and it completely covers the road, which is dangerous, as you said.
Yeah.
And so that'll be a big safety improvement there. Then we have Texas Avenue from 11th to 15th, so that's on the north side of Texas Avenue. There's a large amount of water, and several intersections become practically impassable. I myself, after hearing about it years ago, I remember driving out there to take a look as the city. I was running a different errand. I was in my car, and remember the "Don't drive, stay alive." I was this close, and after doing that, I haven't done it again because I would never be able to live it down if I would have flooded out my car. So yeah, you definitely want to avoid it because just the going through the insurance process alone, you definitely want to avoid that. Then we have the Sunnyvale neighborhood, and that's south of 32nd Street. There's a large neighborhood there. The existing drainage, it has very low capacity, so we would be increasing that capacity with, we call it an enclosed system. It's what everyone wants to see on their drainage. They want it in pipes underground.
Under the ground.
And so that's what we'll be able to do there, and that will help that neighborhood a lot. Quality of life, nuisance flooding, and some street flooding for sure.
And these are all projects that are forecasting for the future, the growth in the area and obviously where existing neighborhoods are, but it also helps with capacity, right? The more people you get into the area. the more.
Absolutely. You always have a mind to the growth. We always focus on that, and in some of these cases, when the neighborhood was first developed, everything was good, but then more development happened afterwards, and it didn't factor into the original design. So we're going back and we're fixing some of those areas. Of course, in some places, we have 100-year-old infrastructure. The old Willow Branch and what we call the First and Joplin Avenue, that's another culvert system. Portions of it built by hand. So when you have those kinds of systems, we have a couple of projects on those, and when we're trying to get a long-range plan to eventually replace most of that system, which is a big project, and this will allow us to take those first steps. And that's something that you have to do. I mean, it lasted 100 years. I can't complain. But eventually you do have to tackle that kind of stuff.
Well, and it being wrapped in a sales tax issue, it helps the citizens to not have to bear all of the brunt of it, right? The people who are shopping here and coming to the city, they help bear some of the cost because, they come here for that reason.
Yeah. And they benefit from it, especially in these projects. Everyone uses the parks as well as the transportation. Getting the water off the roads. And
Paul, talk about the shortage of lifeguards. You said that this is a trend that's been happening. It's not just COVID related.
No, this has been a trend that's probably been happening, 7 to 10 years ago. Just not this severe as what we're noticing this year. I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, we started having to rotate between Cunningham and Ewart Pool every other day because we don't have enough lifeguards to operate. Last year, we only opened up Schifferdecker Pool simply because because of COVID.
Right.
But this year, we only were able to open Schifferdecker. We would have loved to open up all 3 pools. However, we only have 54 lifeguards apply, and 50 of them have to go to Schifferdecker Pool. So you don't have enough to open the other 2 pools. It's just been a trend. It's just not Joplin. This is happening all over the country. We're not the only ones, and that's one of the reasons you see the Ewart Park Splash Park as a project because that facility you really only have to have 1 lifeguard, whereas Ewart and Cunningham Pool now you have to have 25 at each one of those facilities to keep it open. So
and that's 25 per day.
20. Well, those 2 pools you have to have 12 to 14 lifeguards per day.
Okay.
But then you have the alternates that you have to have on schedule, right? But Schifferdecker alone, they takes 24 lifeguards to man that pool per day. So you have to have twice as many on the schedule in case something comes up. Right. So it's unfortunate. When I started 20-some years ago, we had no issues. I actually bragged whenever I went to conferences.
Right.
I'm like, I have no issues getting lifeguards, but it's finally caught up.
Right.
So.
Well, and talk about how important it is for elections. A lot of times during city elections or municipal elections, off years, there's not a lot of voter turnout. What do we need to tell people why they need to be involved and vote?
I know the city obviously. We educate on the projects and whatnot, and we do have a great committee that advocates for us and whatnot. It's important. I know Public Works, and I'm not going to speak for Dan, but all these projects that you see, all the projects that you've seen done, Schifferdecker Pool, the athletic complex, this was all funded through sales tax. So this is where we get our projects. This is where we get the chance to beautify Joplin for the citizens. This is where we get the new amenities like a pool. So it is important that we educate the public on what they're going to be getting through this tax. So and all of our projects, just like Public Works, these projects all came from the citizens. We both did studies, and these are the comments that the public wants. So it's not me sitting down at my desk,
Right.
you know, brainstorming. This was done from the citizens' point of view. So
And if they want the input, they have to
absolutely.
get out there and support the vote.
Yep.
And Dan, do you know if the city of Joplin will receive any of the funding from the federal government's infrastructure package that was just passed?
I don't know of any specific projects, but I am confident if there is grant funding available. The City of Joplin, our staff, we have a great track record. We've been very successful, have been continually successful over the years. In the past program, in the millions of dollars of grant funds went into the stormwater program, and the in the case of the sales or the parks portion, anytime you're talking trails, that's transportation, alternate transportation, and so those projects have a good opportunity of being funded as well. Like I said, I don't have any specific,
Sure.
and we, anytime the funds do become available, we're very aggressive. My old English teacher from high school would be shocked to find that in the competition, my work is graded for grammar, spelling. It's never. I didn't appreciate those lessons as much as I should have, but like I said, we do very good in that competition, and it's a competition statewide. So.
Right. And it is important for infrastructure, not just the initial investment, but the continued investment, which is what this renewal of the sales tax is all about, right?
Yes.
And is there anything, big number one project on your list besides eWort that you think citizens really?
Well, I mean, all of them, honestly,
I'm
are all important to me.
Yeah.
Actually, when we went into this process, and we actually had 56 projects, and then we have a citizens committee that, you know, it's really important for them, and I would not want to be in their shoes, but they have to decide, you know, all together on which projects they think are most important to our community. One of the things I like, it's not a, fancy new building or mountain bike. But, you know, one of the things that came out of our study was park safety. And so adding lights to our parks and adding security cameras to our parks just to, they're safe during the day, but at night when people want to enjoy the parks, not in the summer heat, that's kind of one that's got me kind of excited because, it keeps the parks going a lot longer than just daytime.
Right, because as a single woman maybe wouldn't want to go on a trail
Right.
late at night and there's no
Absolutely.
cameras or protection. So
Yep.
that's a really good idea. Well, thanks so much for joining us, gentlemen. We want to thank Paul Bloomberg and Dan Johnson with the City of Joplin for discussing these important ballot issues and the impact they will have on the Joplin area. We'll be right back and talk to former Joplin Mayor City Council member Mike Seibert about the Citizens Committee and how they helped with this process.
Finding places to discover nature and enjoy outdoor activities in Missouri has just gotten easier. The Missouri Department of Conservation now offers the free mobile app Mo Outdoors. You can quickly and easily find MDC outdoor offerings based on your favorite type of outdoor activities, including birdwatching, camping, fishing, hiking, hunting, or shooting. The mobile app helps you find conservation areas, fishing accesses, hiking trails, shooting ranges, and more. You can also mark your favorite locations. Mo Outdoors also connects users to area regulations and season information, hours of operation, images, area closings, and interactive maps. And the map function displays features such as parking lots, boat ramps, wildlife viewing areas, and it allows you to easily navigate to the features using your device's GPS. And if you have a bad signal, no worries. You can download maps for offline use. Exploring the outdoors is easier than ever with this sweet mobile app. You can download the free Mo Outdoors app through Google Play for Android devices and the App Store for Apple devices.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Mike Seibert, former mayor of Joplin and city council member and businessman here in
Yes.
Joplin. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure.
And you're part of the Citizens Committee that helped come up with these projects that we just talked about with this Paul Bloomberg and Dan Johnson. Tell us what the committee did.
The committee was appointed by the council, and the committee's role was to listen to all of the proposed projects for parks and for stormwater, and based on that, we were asked to individually rank the priorities of those projects, and then they were scored, and then they were ranked accordingly. There was about $100 million in combined projects from parks and stormwater, and the use tax renewal will generate about $43 million. So you can see we had a lot more projects than we had funding available. So, but then after they were ranked, then the cutoff for monies available was established. And this time it's 55% of the revenue will go towards parks projects, and 45% of the revenues will go to stormwater projects. So that was the committee's first charge, was to rank the projects. And once they're ranked, now we are in partnership with the chamber to go around and to educate the voters on why to support this on the upcoming August 3rd election.
And how many members were there on the committee? What type of consensus was it?
There was initially, I think there was about 20 people that were selected to be on the committee, and so now now that portion of the project has been completed, now various members of the committee will then go to different civic groups to ask for voter support on the upcoming election, and sometimes we'll do that in conjunction with city staff, but city staff will be there to maybe answer any of the technical sides of some of the projects, whether it's a parks project or a stormwater project. But then at the end, the committee members will ask for voter support.
Okay. And in a typical municipal election like this, voter turnout's typically low. How can you engage voters and get them on board to understand that this is what's best and it's in their best interest?
Well, hopefully through programs like this, people will start to get an interest and maybe want to know more. And so we will encourage citizens to go to the city's website, joplinmo.org/elections, and you can find Proposition Renewal. That's your parks and stormwater portion renewal tax, and that link will take you through all of the proposed parks projects and all of the proposed stormwater projects, and hopefully after looking at that, the citizens will be motivated to support that, seeing a community wanting to continue to move forward, not only from a recreational standpoint, but a safety standpoint. Hopefully that to that voter means that this is a city moving forward and they want to participate.
Because we're coming up on the 150-year anniversary of the city. And I think Dan said some of this infrastructure has been around since the city was here. So it's important to keep moving.
Well, it's an ongoing process within a city, and there should always be major projects like this. And this type of funding, this use tax, is what funds these projects. Right. If it's not passed, there's no money for these projects.
Right. And talk about the signs that people can get their hands on.
We've just got our signs, and these are our yard signs, and they are available to be picked up at the chamber office on 4th Street. So I would encourage citizens, if they are interested in putting a yard sign out, to stop by the chamber. For businesses, we have basically some signs that they can put in their business windows if they choose to, and these resources are available through the chamber. So hopefully we can get people excited and motivated to get out and vote yes on Proposition Renewal on August the 3rd.
And this is just one of 3 ballot issues that are going to be coming up over the next, 12 months.
Correct.
From now until March. So people, they might get tired of the city are asking for more taxes, but it's not more. It's just renewal, correct?
On parks and stormwater, it is a renewal.
Right. And if this is what pays for it, if they don't renew it, does it just stop? Or
Well,
does it just go at the current rate for until next year, I think, right?
The current use tax, the current stormwater tax will expire this coming March, the end of March of 2022. And so if this is passed, then this starts right back up April 1st, 2022, and it would go for 10 years, ending in, what would that be, March of 2032.
Right. And that would mean it goes as status quo. There's no improvements, there's no additions, there's no...
If it does not pass, that would be a very hard conversation that the city manager and the council will have to have, because like I said, in the current budget for the city, these projects are not there.
But they're very important.
I think they are.
Yeah. And what does the chamber help do with respect to this?
Well, they're a link to a lot of the businesses, obviously, within the community, and they play a vital role in getting this message out, and hopefully businesses and industry get behind this and support this, because ultimately, if you've got job openings, this may attract people that live here to stay here because they see a city moving forward with parks and safety. And then also it might bring people into Joplin who need those jobs, as opposed to looking at a job in a community that doesn't seem to have these kind of priorities. So that's why the chamber's important, because of their connections and their links to the businesses. The businesses can support this and get the voter support. So this is one thing, this is one additional tool that our current businesses and industry here can use as they try to recruit employees.
Yeah, because the whole time I've been here, and I've been here since the mid '80s. So really, Joplin's my hometown now. A lot of people say there's not much to do in Joplin, but there is, and there can be with citizen support.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself.
Well, thanks so much, Mike. We appreciate
It's a pleasure.
I want to thank Paul Bloomberg and Dan Johnson with the City of Joplin, and Mike Seibert, a member of the Citizens Committee, for joining us today. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University. And I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.